Welcome to your latest Forex strategy game news. I have a lot of great updates and new Forex game content for you to dive into, so let's not waste time on introductions and start with Endless Legend 2. Its developers released the Retold Tales update, which adds a completely new quest and event system. In addition, the AI got improved and trading resources at the market made easier. Requests from fans of the first game drove this change to quests and events, especially their art, and devs made such changes to the Necrophages and the Kin factions, which are apparently the most played factions. Tell me in the comments, is this a shock to you, or did you expect this to be true? This fantasy and turn-based Forex game is still in early access, so changes like this are expected, and devs are thankful to everyone who leaves feedback and are asking for more. A sound business idea in my view, make the game your players want to play. They already mentioned future changes to simultaneous turns and modifications to minor factions, so I will make sure to let you know about these once they publish the next update. Beyond Astra is a totally new Forex game project from an indie team, but they have successfully funded their game on Kickstarter and have published progress updates regularly. PLAYTEST doesn't just talk about, but also shows us the beating heart of civilizations in their game, their cities. They want these to be majestic but also feel alive. So they have been working on a lot of 3D models. In this future Forex-based game with a hard approach to science fiction, you will see architecture of these cities reflect the civilization who built them, and furthermore, when you start a new game, you will choose the style that will define the appearance of your cities and units. That can be a utilitarian style, a bioshape, a slick and minimalistic futuristic style, or even a neo-ancient style. These will be made to fit into over 20 biomes devs showcased in their previous project update. This game will feature a very cool take on the core pillars of such games, meaning economy, diplomacy and military, and is the reason why I keep following its development. I hope you're interested too, so let me know in the comments what you think of it so far. Another turn-based Forex that has received updates and also new DLCs is ZEPHON, but this one has very unique and original lore, filled with cyberpunk monstrosities and eldritch horrors. Not only have these developers recently released the Synthetic and Imperious DLC, but they have already announced plans for the next one. It will bring new high-tier units for the human voice and cyber factions we can play with, and even the Chiefless faction, which is a non-playable AI faction, but it shows up in all matches. Don't worry, there will be free content updates for the base game as well. If you haven't started playing this game yet, do know it can be overwhelming at first, and I mean, what Forex game isn't? But you will miss out if you don't give yourself a chance to learn its gameplay. Frankly, it's enough to see that each DLC does not have overwhelmingly negative reviews to figure out that devs are doing right by their player base. Next new project I hope you're keeping an eye on, like me, is titled Feudums. Its indie devs are constantly updating their demo, which is available on Steam, and devs are inching closer to releasing it into early access. One of its best features is going to be its multiplayer, but also a deep simulation of feudal society, where vassals, fate and feudal obligations matter as much as your military might. It's not feature complete yet, so if you do play the demo, keep this in mind, but also try to share your feedback and ideas with the very receptive and active developers. Multiplayer is being designed from the ground up for long-term campaigns. The vassal system means players can join ongoing games as vassals to existing players, creating dynamic hierarchies and political intrigue impossible in traditional strategy games. There are more elements and I will talk more in depth about them in future videos, but for now at least wishlist this game if you like what you see so far. If you prefer fantasy-based 4X games and want some real-time ones instead of all the turn-based ones, then maybe Atre Dominance Wars is the one for you. Its devs not only made several quick updates after its release into early access, but have recently made improvements to the AI, their map and region, spellcasting and army management. They know their UI might be confusing some players, so they are also working on that in addition to making gameplay changes. It's not exactly gameplay you had an opportunity to play before, especially with spells being so important on the world map, but don't worry, I have you covered with a handy how to play guide which I will link up here and down in the description. If you have already played it, share your thoughts on the game so far, or tell me if you plan to buy it after some more updates. Another real-time 4X game is Ephemeris, but this one is still in development and the real-time aspect is in its battles, while the 4X game layer is turn-based. It's obviously a space game, and when you play its Starship Fleet combat, it plays similar to Homeworld, but with a few twists of its own, like physics-based movement and the ability for the player to take over individual ships to fly and control them in first person. The latest dev video showed us a new look at the empire-wide production management, including food, minerals, research and credits. The global slider on the top of the screen gives you direct and immediate control over the distribution of overall production across these resources except for food, which is custom for each planet. This directly ties into food export and growing other planets by helping them from your breadbasket ones. Even after a failed Kickstarter, this developer didn't give up, but found investors willing to help him get over the finish line. Now I can bring you news of its limited upcoming testing that you can join from its Discord community, and 10 testers will eventually be chosen to receive free keys of the full game. Its 4X elements are quite interesting and there are some original game mechanics in there too. So I suggest you wishlist it and join its Discord for latest news and opportunity to playtest it. The links are in the description. When it comes to new 4X games which are going to be released soon, we have the title of Folk Emerging, set to be fully released in July of this year. It is a turn-based 4X with a very rarely used setting, the Stone Age. The benefits of this setting is interesting cultures and ecosystems, including untouched wilderness and megafauna. As players will have to outsmart competitors in trade and combat based on auto-battler gameplay. There is even a demo of it on its Steam store page, so you can already test out its gameplay and give feedback to its developer. If you already did so during the June Steam Next Fest, do let me know what you think of it so far. Leading nomadic families, foraging for food, discovering fire, domestication, agriculture and politics should be a cool experience in such a setting, especially with the planned narrative events. As for already released games, Elemental Reforged got another new update to its content and a patch for its gameplay. Developers noticed players being annoyed that discovering cool and powerful items takes a long time, so they made sure to fix that by making those show up earlier. You do get less gold, but there is now a new themed loot table system which gives monsters like wolves and bears identity match drops. In addition to that update, the devs of this very customizable and fun to play Fantasy 4X made sure to improve its AI so it can give a better fight to us as players and improve the overall stability of the game by fixing various issues. There is now a new DLC that was recently released titled Treasures of the Magi, and it gives a new story for you to explore while finding new items and even consumable potions which can transform your champions into monsters for a short time. So far, players seem to be very positive about it. Old World is arguably one of the best reviewed and supported turn-based 4X games set in the ancient world. Its growing list of DLCs has been expanded recently with the Empires of the Indus. This one introduced 3 new playable nations and a bunch of new powerful noble families specific to these factions. They also come with their religions, holy sites, as well as specific and unique units, including elephant and cavalry variants. In addition to these, DLC added the Huns as a new tribe of opponents, 4 new wonders, the jungle vegetation type, and over 200 new events, 60 new ambitions, and even new rare resources like jade, silk, spices, and ebony. Of course, there are specific maps as well, and it's a very well-rounded DLC, so it's no surprise it's positively reviewed by players. If you think Old World can take Civilization's top spot for the 4X genre, let me know in the comments. The next space-themed 4X game that is getting a DLC, and this very month in fact, is Terra Invicta. Its gameplay might have a high learning curve, but a lot of players manage to climb it and enjoy the game immensely. This next DLC is titled Dark Skies, and it changes one of the core premises of this alien fighting game. In one new scenario, it takes you back 20 years to the past as Earth nations spiral into diplomatic turmoil. The true enemy only begins to move in the shadows and uses powerful sympathizers to prepare its coming. In the other new scenario, called Broken Earth, we go even further back to the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, which goes hot and ends in nuclear war. The world becomes a very different place and gives you a new challenge to overcome before the aliens arrive. 2 new ship sets are also part of this DLC, so I hope you will enjoy it. A brand new 4X game that will be coming out next year is The Great Tribes. It's another one which lets you move through time with your civilization, from primitive shelters all the way to interstellar colonies. Its biggest advantage over other such games might prove to be its AI system, which is being designed to learn and explore the world exactly as players do, meaning no scripting. Other features include terraforming continents, mixing different cultures to gain access to unique technologies, even a mechanic for empire collapse, and more, which you can read in the dev blog. As for nations or factions, the current plan seems to be 6 race types based on starting biome. This can be an icy wasteland or a tropic jungle, and several others. Dev plans to have laws, science, education, religion, and more elements, so I can't wait to see it fully released. Do wishlist it to help them in that goal. This next one is going to be released much sooner, on the 17th of August in fact, as devs of Solar Wave are going into full launch and no early access. This is a large-scale space team 4X with indirect control, which is good considering the planned scale of the game, with thousands of ships clashing in spectacular battles, a deep interconnected economy model, and exploration of a massive galaxy. This game is meant to feel dark, especially in the campaign gameplay mode. There is a demo if you want to try it out, and devs do keep updating it and adding content. If you like what you see, consider also wishlisting it and leaving feedback for them to improve it before release. Now, of course, a video like this couldn't be made without mentioning the giant in the 4X space, which is the Civilization franchise. Its devs might have stumbled during the initial release of its 7th game, but they are working their way forward by going backwards, meaning that with the recent Test of Time update we can now stay as any civ in any age. And on top of that, Hot Seat multiplayer was also added, something many fans wanted to be able to enjoy. There is even more work that went into the most recent update, with improvements and changes to government celebrations and happiness mechanics, as well as a remade archipelago map type. The DLC issue does remain, especially with the core of the game going through so many changes. Feel free to share your opinions on this in the comments below. Another fantasy-based 4X game with a brand new DLC is Age of Wonders 4, which has also received free updates to go along with the Secrets of the Archmages DLC, which was released on the 16th of June. The only problem is that with new content of tomes, lore-rich story maps, and the new owl form, came bugs, crashes, and even multiplayer issues for some. The core idea behind these new tomes is to give you new tools to solve problems, gain powerful units, or heal or buff those that need some help. There is a lot of other new content too, which not only expands on what was already in the game, but gives you more choices, like landmarks on the world map, new wildlife units, banner, realm template, mount, and more. If you're already deep into it, let me know how you like it. There are certainly many more updates, DLCs and brand new 4X games to cover, but I will leave those for my next video and just mention the update devs did for Atre History Untold at the end of this very first 4X game news video. I will also ask you to subscribe and help me grow this channel so I can keep bringing you such game updates and news in the future. As for Atre History Untold, devs went deep into the mechanics and added a new national crafting policy system. What it does for the game is not just to address the most common piece of player feedback since launch, which was about managing crafting across a large empire, but it also lets you set priority tiers and quota targets for recipes at the national level. This means that while you can choose to give up direct control over crafting, you can still use the 3-mode drop-down menu on the improvement panel to override the overall policy wherever you want in specific cities. This update also added a large set of new culture traits and religious verses while addressing late-game balance, stability and performance of the game. For more news and updates on 4X and Grand Strategy games, check out the cards on the screen or links in the description. Thank you for watching and I wish you all happy gaming.